Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jay with Scraps and Taps, and we're back after a crazy weekend. UFC 327 going down in Miami. Dude, the fight card was so fucking crazy. It was looking pretty stacked from when they announced it, but my God, Miami, dude, there's something in those waters in Miami. Could be the runoff of old cocaine coming onto the shore. But man, there's something about Miami that always delivers. Yeah, I mean, we had some good knockouts, we had some bloody fights, some mistakes, um, you know, but geez, what a night of fights at the Kaseya Center. Um, but some big fights. Let's get into it. Let's start at the bottom. We get Charles Radke getting a decision win over Francisco Prado. I think in this fight, Prado got a big old gash right above here in his face, and that's really all I remember. This was one that I'm surprised, not surprised, but these are two veterans of the game. In the early prelims, we had Kelvin Gastelum making weight finally versus Vicente Luque, and both these guys are, like I said, veterans in the UFC octagon. Um, Kelvin though still has a chin, and man, he was still looking clean out there, getting looking pretty fast. And Vicente Luque, I mean, his ground game is insane. Once he gets you to the ground, it's a matter of time. And he just landed one of the sickest. I believe it was a Darce choke that he got. No, not a Darce, an Anaconda choke. Kind of similar, same ish. Just a little bit, I think, of hand movement. But wow, just what a squeeze he put on Kelvin Gastelum. And like I said, Kelvin Gastelum, he's had a tough time making weight. Sometimes he takes Taco Tuesday way too seriously, and there are video evidence of him just chowing down before a fight. And yeah, I mean, still, both these guys look pretty good. It was, and Kelvin always gets dropped in this way where once he gets hit, he falls back and he scoots back with both arms, and then he kind of like rolls backwards. I think he got Izzy knocked him down like that, but shout out to Luque, still out there, still getting it done in round one via Anaconda choke. Then we get Markel Maderos versus Chris Padilla. And both of these guys were going straight at it. I mean, ooh, 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 ooh. My cat's got drama right now. Uh, man, damn. Hey, don't fight. Sorry, my cats like to get into it. But anyways, yeah, these guys are both going at it. They were staying in each other's faces, not giving each. Well, it was more Padilla was giving this good pressure towards Maderos and kept Maderos trying to get on the back foot. But man, sometimes Maderos would just stay in the pocket and trade with Padilla, and both these guys were just not giving up on trying to fight each other. Um, yeah, in the start of round two, also to come in try to fix a hole in his head above right here. And I think we heard in the corner that there was a existing cut, but it wasn't the same. And Medeiros was just so surgical with his elbows, just throwing these beautiful short elbows, kind of like last like UFC Seattle, where the guy who knocked out Chase Hooper. I forget his name, but the guy who knocked out Chase Hooper with those short elbows on the inside. I mean, Medeiros was throwing some heat with those elbows and really opening up Padilla. And I mean, they were just going back and forth all three rounds. And this is the one that kind of got people a little upset. And I think this is like, again, this is like, I think the third mistake that Bruce Buffer has made in a month. And, that's kind of crazy. It's happening pretty quickly. But, but man, it was a war. Both these guys going at it left and right, left and right. And Medeiros got actually a couple point deductions because of his eye pokes. Man, some of them were pretty bad. He got like a scrape right across the eye with a thumb, a couple fingers right in the middle. Hmm. These cats, they're annoying. Does anybody have pets? Sometimes pets can be so fucking annoying, can't they? Ugh. I'm so glad I don't have dogs where like they just ruin like you'll come home and everything's ruined, you know. Do cats do piss a lot on things like, oh, it's disgusting. I don't want to talk about it right now. Let's get back into these fights. Um, but yeah, because of those eye pokes, Madero's got a couple points taken away, and the results in the beginning that Bruce Buffer had mentioned was a majority decision to a majority draw, seeing that one of the two 29-27s was flipped to a 28-28. So, yeah, it was kind of crazy. And that came hours later. Um, Not hours, like an hour later from when the fight happened. So it's kind of a crazy, crazy result. But man, both these guys giving it back and forth. It was such a good scrap, a good technical scrap, I felt like. Then we get Lupe Godinez versus Tatiana Suarez, and Tatiana Suarez coming off a loss, and Lupe Godinez, the number six. Is it number six? The number two and number six fighter. Tatiana Suarez trying to come back after her loss to Weili Zhang. And Suarez is really good in there. Obviously, Suarez is a really, really tough wrestler. She's had some really big setbacks, but trying to make her way back to the title. And Lupe Godinez is a great, great fighter. But Godinez is here actually showing her wrestling and slamming Tatiana Suarez on the floor, which is pretty insane. And just got her up, smashed, like put her right onto the ground. But Suarez was good enough to grab both of her arms behind her. So instead of her getting up again and trying to slam her, she was able just to hold the position, which just kept her away from that damage and more wrestling. Um, but Godinez was good, throwing some good knees in the stomach in the clinch. Um, and like I said, Suarez was just there shooting from her hips, and Suarez is pushing past Godinez's left leg and gets in some half guard. And a lot of this fight was just a good wrestling match, both together. And then in round two, this is where things start to get a little interesting, where Suarez starts to, open up the striking. Well, start with the striking to open up some wrestling. And just as round two gets like halfway through, Suarez is able to get her down and then just wrap up this nice rear naked choke. And for the first time, Lupe Godinez is finished in the octagon. Woo! That was a hard one to get through. I'm not even going to lie. And then her post fight speech was a very, very nice one, dedicating her fight to her brother who had lost his battle with cancer. Also, Tatiana Suarez, I didn't know, was a thyroid cancer survivor. So, it's a very, very personal win for Tatiana Suarez. Then we get Mateus Gamrot, Esteban Ribovic, and this was just exactly what you expected. I thought Esteban Ribovic, I think he had a pretty good fight at the Noche UFC. Man, I think I want to say it was against Daniel Zellhuber, if I'm giving my best guess right now. Um, but Mateus Gamrot, I mean, what a fucking stud, man. He is just a guy who continues to wrestle and shows how much his game is better than anybody else's game in the UFC. I mean, at some point he looked like he was just swarming him. I mean, he looked like a little tiny baby, and this fucking pit bull or just this rabid dog is just circling him.
They came bounding over.
Like, I mean, absolutely putting a wrestling clinic on this guy. And I thought Ribovic was going to be able to get some offense going, seeing that he was kind of like a um, I guess kind of just a brawler fighter. So I thought he would make it messy enough to get Gamrot maybe thinking a little bit, but no, wasn't enough. Then we get Randy Brown versus Kevin Holland, and man, these are two rangy fighters, two long guys with extremely far reach, and both that have just a great arsenal. And Randy Brown, he's a guy who likes to fight with his hands down. Kevin Holland's a guy who likes to fight with his hands down, and Kevin Holland likes to talk shit in between. And both these guys have been in the UFC for a while, so it was pretty interesting to see this back and forth. And man, Kevin Holland showing how his kicks are just insane, trying to chop at Randy Brown's leg, leaving these huge knots in his legs. It was disgusting. Usually I'm not good at seeing that stuff, but man, when you see his leg against the octagon colored canvas, you just see this huge like bump over his shin, and man, that was disgusting. But Randy Brown was good at there, staying in the pocket. Both guys just absolutely throwing it back and forth. Um, and at some point, Holland gets Brown down. That was pretty hard to say. And as they go down, Holland tries to get Brown in a crucifix, and then at some point, Brown is able to transition almost into a triangle choke, which is pretty crazy. Um, but even at the end of round one, he gets Holland gets a little flash knockdown. Um, and Brown kept hooking his toes into the fence, which they had to keep swatting at. And round two is more of the same. Both these guys just trying to get each other back and forth, back and forth. I mean, this fight was very exciting. And at the end, Kevin Holland gets the unanimous decision over Randy Brown. Then we get Patricio Pitbull Freire, I don't know how to say his last name, versus Aaron Pico. And this is the battle of Bellator here that we're talking about. These are two guys who are Bellator alumni. I mean, and freaking Aaron Pico was looking absolutely shredded during fight week. And Pitbull's looking just insanely huge. I mean, he's kind of a big guy. He looks like a Brazilian lumberjack, I would say. But Pico's coming off that loss to Lerone Murphy, and Pitbull's just not having. I don't even know what his last fight was, but I believe he did not get the win. And here at this point, I mean, it was Pico just waiting to pick off Pitbull. Pitbull having some moments in the fight, but Pitbull was just having absolutely no head movement, and Pico was just taking advantage of that 1,000%. And Pico was just living behind his jab and absolutely crushing Pitbull's face. And then as they get to round three, I mean, it was just absolutely Pico just turning it on with multiple knees to the body. I mean, absolutely throwing Pitbull to the fence. And I mean, Pico is just a good term for it. I feel like is suffocating Pitbull. And yeah, and Aaron Pico gets the win. I mean, it's good for Pico to finally get a win in the UFC. Maybe not the most exciting fight, but Pitbull is a grizzled veteran who's been in the octagon for a very, very long time. Ooh, and what did I say? What did I say about these legends, man? We got two in a row. Um, Two absolutely fairy tale endings to a career in the fight of Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. And holy shit, dude. I would hate to be anybody on the other side of Cub Swanson when his family is watching him. I mean, dude, he looked fucking scary. He lives up to his name. killer Cub Swanson. And Nate Landwehr is nobody to shy away about. I mean, this guy has a lot of heart. He fought in that David Onama fight where he was down 2 rounds and then comes back and absolutely flatlines the guy and gets the win, or fucking just wins. And yeah, I mean, the whole thing of the fight was just Landwehr was just trying to stay in the fight. Cub Swanson would just hit him with one punch and fucking Nate Landwehr would look like he just got hit with the fucking power fist and just get swung across the octagon. I mean,
nice. Ooh. Love it.
Oops. I guess I'm stronger than I thought.
it was crazy. I mean, Cub Swanson was, I think Joe put it in great terms where he said he looked like he was a man possessed. I mean, insane the state that Cub Swanson is in, and he is retiring still. I mean, he looked fantastic in his retirement fight. And I mean, like I said, Landwehr was just there to try and keep up. But I mean, at one point, or obviously probably the finishing sequence where he gets a punch, Landwehr hits the mat and he tries to go for a maybe like a single leg, tries to go for some sort of takedown, and then Swanson just goes boom, hits him right in the fucking face, and that was it. I mean, it was enough. Landwehr had took enough punishment, I think, up to that point. And then he gets the fucking the retirement package. I mean, dude had the one of the, what is it? He is the last WEC fighter to be in the UFC, and man, what a way to cap off probably one of the most successful organizations for the small guys, in the UFC, in the history of the UFC. Absolute fairy tale result. Gets it done in fucking round 1 like a man possessed. And now he's going to go off and teach his skills to the future of MMA, and it's going to be pretty cool. They're going to get Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. And, everybody was saying, oh my God, it's going to be like a double knockout, blah, 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 this and that. Johnny Walker always is. Ended up being the most boring fight in the whole night. Just these two guys that, both are kind of wild. Reyes is a little bit more, I feel, technical than Walker, but both these guys can get a little wild at times. So you imagine that these two guys were going to go after it and, use the octagon and all this, but it ended up being just like they were staring at each other right in the face, and that was it. But Dominic Reyes ends up getting the win over Johnny Walker. Some people said that Walker should have got the decision, but I think it's just in one of those fights it's kind of hard to score, and even then, who knows? So, the judging now is pretty wonky, so yeah, who fucking knows, right? Man, all right. And then we get Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett. That fucking bit of this fight week where he's going, mama.
That I'm the best from the east to the west, to the old dying man, to the baby on the breast. Mama, you know who the best is, Mama? The Incredible Hulk's the best, Mama.
It's fucking hilarious. And honestly, I can't get enough of it. I know some people are fucking saying it's just annoying and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, it's just juicing up the heavyweight division. I mean, I don't like even Curtis Blades not liking Hokett and everybody trying to say Blades needs to destroy Hokett. It's like that Michael Bisping effect. It's like, even if you hate me, you're still making noise for me. And that matters more than anything. And man, Josh Hokett is living up to his character at this point. Fucking rock'em sock'em robots. And I give it to Curtis Blades, man. Curtis Blades, he's been in the UFC for a long time, fought some of the top of the division. But Hokett was just hitting him with these flurries and absolutely cutting Blades right under his eye really early into the fight. So it started getting bloody completely early. And there were so many times that Blades was just on fucking ice skates, just going around the octagon. I mean, at some point, it was like Hoke would get him into the corner, and he would. It was like Blades wasn't even. It was like Blades was looking at nobody, and Hoke was just on the side, raining these hits, and it was just so nasty. But man, Blades has a fucking steel chin. Um, and from round one, I mean, to round three, it was some of the one of I probably one of the greatest heavyweight fights in the UFC so far. I mean, a bloodbath. Blades getting absolutely destroyed, and but also not being out of the fight. I mean, it was rough, but Blades had some times where he was shining in there, and I think I got it. Gross. Blades was in there like a majority of the fight, and man, every single time that fucking Hoke would show him the middle finger, it was absolute. It was so fucking funny. I mean, whether you hate the gimmick, whether you fucking love the gimmick, dude, this guy could fucking fight at an insane pace, mind you that. And both these guys by the end of round three were just absolutely exhausted. Fucking like, oh my goodness. Like if they went one more round, I think one of them would have died. I think for sure. So I mean, both got I mean, still these guys are standing at the end of it, and Blades took a fucking beating, and Hoke just reminds me of a Ben Rothwell and a Colby Covington mixed together. I mean, he has the same thing with the robe and the cape, and so yeah. I mean, he's getting it done. Even if you don't like it, he's getting it done, and he's showing what it is to fucking be a heavyweight and really giving the fucking heavyweight division some well-needed juice. And look at this. I knew it was weird when Dana was going live after that. I didn't see the whole announcement, but he announces that Josh Hoke will be fighting Derek Lewis on the fucking White House card. Last minute edition. And man, that's going to be tough because Hoke's been having a really active year. And how is it going to be if Hoke's just fucking taking this fight? He can have the Merab Dvalishvili effect where he's just taking too much at one time and it's just going to pile up and he's going to get losses. I mean, I think Hoke's not in this at this point to I've never heard him talk about title aspirations, so I don't assume, but man, he's probably here to he's going to be making a lot of money really soon if he can make it to that White House card. But man, that is probably going to go down as fight. That's probably in the running for fight of the year contender. Yeah, man, I can't say enough of that. It was just one of the harshest fights. Both guys going back at it. I mean, it was some badass shit. Like, that's what you want to see from the heavyweight division. And man, Hoke just fucking shoot himself in there. If he can get a win over Derek Lewis at the fucking White House card, can you imagine? That would blow the fucking White House's top off. Then we get Paulo Costa moving up to fight Azamat Murzakanov, who was an undefeated fighter, I think, at this point. Yeah, 16-0. And Costa 15-4. Fighting at middleweight, but moving up to light heavyweight for this fight. And Paulo Costa was looking huge. He's always looking crazy. He always has this crazy physique, Paulo Costa. That guy has looks like a fucking model. And Murzakanov trying to get the better of Costa. But man, Costa was giving it to him pretty much a majority of the fight. A lot of people scored that first round for Costa. And in round two, Costa just continues to lay it on Murzakanov, and Murzakanov is just good at getting off some jabs here and there. And Murzakanov was good at trying to keep at getting the body of Costa, and Costa doing the same by kicking him with his toes right in the solar plexus, right in the bread basket, the one that just takes you out when like you just go and you go out of breath like that. And midway through round 2, Mirzakhanov is just starting to get the better of Costa, slamming him to the mat, trying to get this scarf hold position. Um, but Costa survives and gets over into round 3. Now at this point, it's 1-1 Mirzakhanov and Costa. And as they reach the final round, Costa ends up delivering this nasty head kick that, to Mirzakhanov's credit, partially blocks, but a majority of the pressure, a majority of the force just gets to Mirzakhanov. And as he blocks it, he stumbles back from the kick right on the top of his head. And Costa has some really, really heavy leg kicks. And Mirzakhanov stumbles back, ends up collapsing to the ground, and pretty much ends the fights there. I don't even think Costa I don't even think Costa ends up giving him any additional blows, but just ends it with that crushing head kick. And then I think Donald Trump had some words to say. I saw on Instagram. I'll try to stitch the video. I think he was talking about his like physique or something.
Good looking to be a fighter. You are some fighter. Thank you, man. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Congratulations. 16-0, man.
Yeah, you heard it there from Dana White. Osman Mirzakhanov was 16-0.
Then we get our main event. Yuri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. And fuck, man. Fuck. You hate to see a fight end like that, huh? You know, I was going to say, just because of Yuri's history and the amount of times he fought for the championship and just obviously how he's beloved, you would have wanted to see him walk away with the title. But, man, Yuri always has that weird style. And in round 1, man, both these guys were just, it was looking like a good fight, having it back and forth. And, somewhere in there, I remember I was watching the fight, and I think Ulberg, at first, he rolls his ankle. If I'm not mistaken, I think he rolls his ankle, and I'm like, oh, he looks like he hurt it a little bit. He starts limping. And as the fight, starts continuing, ooh, my shoulder hurts. And obviously, as they start continuing, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start looking at that leg, making sure, like, is it compromised? Is it not? And I think Prochazka lands like a couple of punches. And then Prochazka notices that the knee is damaged and starts kicking it a few times. And then that's when like Ulberg's knees just start buckling. And that's when Prochazka starts walking towards him. So starts pointing at the mat. And at this point, I am like, okay, it's over, right? Like, I'm like, it's about to be finished. Let me pay for my food. Let me finish this up. Let me finish my beer. It's done. I just want to, what is it called? I just want to get out of here, right? At the place I was eating. And I'm like, man, all right, let's just, I'm like, all right, Yuri, let's wrap this up. And at this point, Ulberg's leg has looked like it just popped, like something in the, I don't know if it's a knee thing or whatever. It could have been because at the angle it looks like on the replay, it looks like it kind of, as he leans down, the knee kind of like extends like this, but then you see something in the back of his knee, in the back of his leg towards like his calf area, just like shoot up. And I don't know if that's just the activation of the muscle from trying to jump off of it or whatever, but it looked pretty nasty.
Or forward shifting of a tibia on the fixed femur due to an ACL tear. Now, we really only have one angle of this injury to look at, but what you can see is that like recoiling of the muscle in the back there, that gastroc, that calf muscle. And typically, like we've discussed before, this is what you'll see with muscle tears. So like people would think this might be an Achilles tear, but as you can see, he still has some pretty good contour of that Achilles, so clearly no rupture of that.
At this point, that's when Ulberg starts backing up towards the fence, and his feet are like right at the fence. His feet are like stopped at the fence, and so he has this wide stance. And then the thing about Yuri, dude, is he always has his fucking hands down. Always has his fucking hands down. It's just like, it's his style. I get it. But man, he just ended up showing mercy at the wrong moment. And Oberg unleashes this missile of a fucking hook that just sleeps Yuri. I mean, puts him on the ground, butt to the ground. Yuri flattens out, and there is just a semblance, just a little tiny bit of conscience left in fucking Yuri. And fucking Olberg was like, I'm not gonna show fucking mercy. It's for the title, and just unleashes some hammer fists that put Yuri out of commission. And boom. We had a new light heavyweight champion in Carlos Olberg. And you know what? It really does let the division breathe a little bit. Obviously, Yuri has had some fights with Alex Pereira. He's lost, I think, a couple of them, or one of them. And fought a lot of guys in the division. Now Carlos Olberg, we have these new matchups. There's Khalil Roundtree sitting out there. Jamal Hill's waiting out there. We have other guys out there like Paulo Costa maybe might slide in there now if he wants to stay up at light heavyweight. And yeah, I mean, absolutely, what a fucking upset. And my goodness, that's the beauty of the game right there. You show a little bit of mercy, and in that octagon, it is kill or be killed. I mean, really. I mean, I was so out of my mind when that fucking happened. I could not fucking believe it. I mean, just dude fucking slept him. Slept Yuri. Man, and you feel bad for Yuri, but he's having a kid on the way, so congratulations to Yuri. He's going to be a dad, a samurai dad. And then Carlos Olberg is going to be taking that title back to New Zealand, back to City Kickboxing. They got another champ to add to their roster back there. Also on the broadcast, we got our first, I guess, AI look at the Freedom 250 card. Just AI renderings, right? All that stuff I'm talking about. But we also did get the announcement finally. We've been kind of waiting on this happening. Gable Steveson finally getting signed to the UFC, and he's not making his debut on the White House card like a lot of people suspected, but who knows? You know, that could change. I mean, they literally just added a fight when Dana usually says you gotta wait till Tuesday, and we didn't have to wait for that. So who knows? But yeah. And Gable Steveson, he's been looking like a big can crusher out there, fighting a lot of people in different organizations. And even though I say can crusher, I mean, he's still getting experience out there, even though he's starching these guys in, like one round, in like a couple rounds and stuff like that, and showing that he's really good. Obviously, he's a NCAA wrestler, very accredited, training with John Bones Jones. And yeah, but he may be making his debut on not the White House card. I just fucking said he's not. Making his debut maybe on International Fight Week, which is rumored to have maybe a Conor McGregor come back during that. Who knows what's gonna happen, But yeah, Gable Steveson finally making his octagon debut at some point. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for UFC 327. Man, what an insane night of fights. We got some knockouts, some fucking submissions. I mean, we had a little bit of everything for everybody. Like I said, Miami always delivers. We have a new title challenger in Josh Hokett. Seeing if he can get over Derek Lewis. At the White House card. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I feel like there was a lot of UFC movement after 327. So yeah, let's see what's up for the next events here. Anyways, y'all, We had a lot of movement in the UFC. We have a new light heavyweight champion. I totally forgot too that we lost Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira on this fight. Man, could you imagine how this fight card would have been if that was still there? But I think we're getting that for the Chimaev Strickland fight that's coming up. I don't think that's coming up pretty soon. Not pretty soon, but man, what a night of fights. Uh, I mean, I cannot believe that Yuri lost like that. I think it was a shocker to everybody. I think that leg being so compromised was I thought that was just a nail in the coffin for Olberg, but man, oh, it's devastating how mercy and a mistake like that can cost you the title. Oh, I mean, in the biggest moment, it must be frustrating, but yeah. Well, I hope everybody has a nice rest of their week. Yeah, I'm gonna try to work on this as soon as possible. It's been pretty gloomy out here lately, so I'm trying to enjoy the weather. Nice and cold. I run pretty hot, so it's been nice to finally pull out the jacket for a little bit. But yeah, next week we got UFC Fight Night, Burns versus Malat. We got the co-main, Charles Jourdain versus Kyler Phillips. But yeah, this is Jay with Scraps and Taps. You guys take care. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.